Okay, I'm here. Jesus Christ. Okay, kids. Today, I assume you all have taken your Adderalls. Um, I just took a cold shower. I almost vomited in the shower because it was so cold. Today, as we progress on our journey of understanding Adderall, the conspiracies behind it, and why so many Americans are taking it. We are going to. Yeah, actually, I may go into that. Which because that's kind of weird. Um, like it's not that hard to synthesize. I don't. And they used to actually synthesize a lot of them actually in Israel from Takeda pharmacies. Or not Takeda. Yeah, Takeda. Maybe it has to do with the war. I don't know. But that might be like a segment for another time. It is kind of interesting though, especially since it's such a profitable drug. Okay, so I mean this one might just be a bit more like I don't know therapeutic for you all. I mean, I assume you screw it. Let's just go. Um, how are we gonna start this off? Boom. Okay. So our number one question today is how do other countries treat ADD/ADHD because they don't smash their population with amphetamines? I actually live in like a co-living, and it would be cool to like run up and try and find some Germans or something, but I don't think there are any here. Exactly. The solution to ADD/ADHD is to have your mom beat the hell out of you. It's obvious. Like, and then you will learn. 100%. So let's look at this. I'm very curious how Europe manages ADHD. What the fuck? Okay, we're gonna start. I just have to start taking these studies down. The what the fuck? The predominant treatment choice was long-acting methylphenidate, which was prescribed to more than 56% of patients. You're an adult with someone who I'm not gonna get into the ADDs like if it's a real thing. That was for yesterday. And the other one. And a lot of people got angry at me and I had to like I had to remove some comments on my channel. But I believe that there's something called neuroplasticity and your brain can adapt to the challenges that you give it. And if you give it drugs instead, it will never adapt. It will only adapt while it's on drugs. Um, however, I mean, this stuff is ingrained in our culture. Um, Bae, how would you say that you know that you have ADHD? Like when I got diagnosed as having it, I remember I went to this doctor and he was like, I waited a month to see this doctor, and so I go in his office, and I'm like 20 at the time or something, and the guy had like long crazy hair, and so he picks up. I barely had gotten any sleep the night before. He picks up a magazine and he opens it to an article about like complex lobbying, which I didn't even know what lobbying was. And he's like, "Okay, read this and then tell me what it's about." So I kind of read it like just I wouldn't have even known I wouldn't have known the topic at all. I'm like, I have no idea what this is about. And he goes, "You have ADHD." And I and then he's like, "You need amphetamines." Okay. I would be yeah, if you guys post in chat some of your experiences about like how you got diagnosed. I'm curious. Really curious. Was it as crazy as mine? Okay. So in Europe, it looks like about um okay. So for the predominant treatment choice was long-acting methylphenidate, which was prescribed in more than 56% of patients. However, I also wonder how many people are diagnosed as having ADHD in Europe versus the United States. This sounds like a question for ChatGPT. Yeah, you can also just say you can't focus. Yeah, yeah, I know what you mean, Bay. Bay. um, um, yeah, you can just say I just can't focus. Okay, here's some amphetamines. I mean, how many pills do you want to take, Philippon? There's a lot of options. What are the percentage of people diagnosed with ADHD, ADD in the United States versus Europe between the ages of 13 and 18 and then 18 to 44? Really? Diagnosis rates tend to be higher in Europe? According to recent okay. For individuals aged 13 to 18 in the United States, approximately 11 to 12% of children and adolescents have been diagnosed with ADHD. Um, those figures are higher now. Yes, you can until you become reliant on it, Bay, and hit state dependent learning. Or I don't know. You should watch the first video I made. But then again, a lot of people don't want to hear certain opinions of mine. Um, in contrast, European rates are lower. Um, Typically around 4 to 7. Okay, so about 10 to 12% for 13. I would estimate that that's actually higher. Um, Whereas for the same age bracket, it is 4 to 7%. It's a lot less. I would be curious what your all's opinion is on why about only a third to about a half of the people are diagnosed as having ADD/ADHD as opposed to in the United States. Oh, this is wrong. Okay, I don't even know if we should be looking at ADHD, the ADD, these rates. Because it's almost like, just as you said, Bay, calling you Bay feels weird. Like, you can just, you don't have to have a diagnosis. I mean, you can just ask the doctor, but they have to write down a diagnosis in order for you to actually get the stuff from the pharmacy. But nonetheless, let's write this down. There are citations here. I can look at them, but whatever. I think your well, the second letter in your name is a combination of an A and an E. I think it's from a different alphabet, but it looks like Bay. If you're asking me who my Bay is, I forgot what that word means, so I'd have to look it up on Urban Dictionary. ADHD diagnosis rates in the U.S. are estimated to be about 4 to 5%. Okay. I don't have one. I am single in Colombia. For adults, age, diagnosis, risk, neos. And Europe. Okay. I just don't like whenever I see like French or like German or something, people like here at in my co-living or it's only the Americans who are taking the Adderall. A is called an ash or an ash. It sounds like just like a hard A. Ba. I tried in college. Is that the same stuff? All I know is that I was able to study well and stay focused all night, but never was hooked. What's wrong with that? Sounds okay to me. Um, I would say that if there comes a time in your life where things become very demanding, you could be like, oh, there's this stuff that I took before, and it made things really easy. You could take it again. I mean, if you're not doing that, that's great. But I think training people in college to kind of rely on that instead of rely on learning how to do it is the dangerous part. Like it's especially Gen Z. Okay. One thing I want to look at, because yesterday we found this. Yes, I had the exact same problem, babe. I mean, bah. Um, what are other countries doing? Okay, so statistics of because it went up. Holy fuck. Okay. This is November 22. Okay. I will continue to call you Bay. Um, so the number of total Adderall prescriptions in the United States let's look at the total population of the United States. Thank you. I love you too. Um, we have a Discord. If you'd like to join. um, 3.333 million. Um, so this is the total population of people in the United States. And the amount of Adderall prescriptions in the United States is 40. This grew around 10% too. This grew around 10% since 2021. So it's around like 46 million. 46 million Adderall prescriptions. So let's do some math. About 13% of people, I mean, you know, about 14% of people in the United States have Adderall prescriptions. I guess that's not that surprising. I would assume it would be higher. And Ritalin. ADHD diagnosis and methylphenidate consumption in children and adolescents. A systemic analysis of health databases in France over the period 2010. Yeah, I mean, like, it's like how do we even define what ADHD is? Like, oh, one symptom is that you can hyperfocus. Uh, one symptom is that you can't focus. Uh, and et cetera, et cetera. It, and and also like, how did our ancestors or how, why is that gene still around if it was such a bad thing? It's not like our people like 100 years ago. Well, yeah, 100 years ago were taking amphetamines to make it. I mean, we have like hundreds of thousands of years of evolution. ADHD is a spectrum thing in an attempt to move people towards what they believe, what society believes that people should be doing, instead of instead of letting them do what they probably would prefer to be doing. Pending that's not binging YouTube. Then again, I guess you're binging YouTube right now. Back to this. In the median duration of MPA, okay. The rate of children hospitalized with an ADHD diagnosis and treated with MPH. Okay, but I want to know out of like the total population. Of all beneficiaries, we extracted information for all adolescents and children. Okay, they're just looking at people that went to like the hospital. However, this sentence here in the seems to indicate that in France, educational and psychotherapeutic follow-up decreased from. They were only taking like less than 1%. Intelligence can be defined in many ways, Bay. Treatment recommendations vary considerably between countries. You can get. I mean, you can bring, if you have like a prescription, you can bring it across a lot of borders. I know in Colombia where I'm at, there's some like niche pharmacy that sells Vyvanse actually. Um, but like Adderall, nah. I mean, you can get it in Mexico, but it's probably laced with fentanyl. Um, but you can get methylphenidate nearly anywhere, which is it's Ritalin. It's more like the movie I Am Legend. Okay, you crackheads. Although the prescription of psychostimulants may provide short-term relief from the behavioral symptoms of ADHD and facilitate the child's care and education, several epidemiological studies, which is where they look at like the statistics of people within a population, that have followed very large cohorts, or like the sections of the people they're looking at. Cohorts over many years show that stimulants have no long-term benefit on the risks of academic difficulties, delinquency, and substance abuse associated with ADHD. Evidence is mounting that ADHD medications does not make a difference in schoolwork or achievement. This is published in Nature. Okay. This is important. No. I want to see the Nature magazine link. Boom. It's not really a Nature magazine. Screw you guys. I want to see how other people are treating it, instead of just like how much methylphenidate people are taking. Okay. Long waiting lists. Okay. Interesting. There's growing awareness of adult ADHD in Europe. Well, the world wars were a lot of like amphetamines. Okay. The websites I'm landing on seem to have a bias towards ADHD. I want to get a more this is pointing more and more towards this being like a cultural phenomenon, and that there's like this creeping thing that's, it's not that they like are against it. It's just that like I guess they haven't gotten addicted to it or something yet. Okay, Bay, how do you define ADHD? or anyone? You know what? Screw Europe. Let's check out data for China. Okay, Bay, um, if I were to sit you down and you've never seen Game of Thrones, and I'm like, watch Game of Thrones, would you be able to pay attention? Like, okay, what's your favorite show? Like, what's like the best movie you've ever seen? Ah, The Day After Tomorrow, last night. Okay, you watched it, and you weren't distracted per se. Um, so where did that go? So like, if you go in a theater, you're unable to just like be in a theater. Hmm. Well, if you're constantly doing that, I guess. And then let's say that you have this issue. Um do you feel that okay, yes, taking amphetamines causes like sharp focus. Um, however, do you feel as if you were to like kind of push yourself or like kind of or try to like really focus on something that eventually you might sort of get like a skill to do that? I mean, at the same time, I probably sound biased, but it's like okay, how is this ADD slash ADHD thing? How could it have like filtered through our genetics for so long if it is such a problem that we have to take um like amphetamines or something like that? And I remember one hypothesis being that I believe it was Dr. K's hypothesis that it's like I mean if you're in the jungle, it's useful to have a mind that is constantly aware of everything going on around you. So I CBT is cognitively used. There is still a significant stigma. Because when it's reduced to a sustainable level, you will choose a single path and perfect that path, making one a desirable mate. I guess. I think everyone will eventually settle down an ADHD lesson. I mean, or they'll just make more drugs for it. It's kind of, I'm a little bit surprised that, you know what? They're, I mean, for example, one thing in China that it's mentioning is that cognitive behavioral therapy is cognitively used, which is a powerful thing. Okay. I think we're kind of getting our answers here. Primarily stimulants, UK. Germany and France usually use behavioral therapy, stimulant medication. All right, I think I I like this chart. What is ADA Evidence Project? From this, I mean, I think you can kind of deduce a lot in these more Western countries, uh, United States, United Kingdom, or especially just English-speaking countries, Australia. Medication is what's being like shoved, and one could say that that has to do with how much the pharmaceutical companies are pushing. I mean, it's easier to advertise in those places. It's also, I mean, let's take the example of depression. If you're depressed, you kind of have a few options. You could take an antidepressant, or you could do something called cognitive behavioral therapy or some other form of therapy. Um, and cognitive behavioral therapy is known to be very effective. In fact, sometimes even more so than taking an antidepressant. But the antidepressants are just a pill. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to like put forth effort. Whereas with cognitive behavioral therapy, you have you have to put forth effort. You have to write things down, like how you felt about X or Y. And it seems like it comes down to just the culture that the pharmaceutical companies have warped us into believing in that yes, quack doctors. Here we go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I go back to America and it's like every other commercial is another new drug. Oh, this drug will help you live for 2 years longer so you can jump in a lake with your. Yeah. So we could all probably agree that the fact that pharmaceutical companies are allowed to advertise on television um, probably has affected things from the get go. And erectile dysfunction. Um, strong emphasis on behavioral therapy alongside. Okay. Oh, okay. These are really interesting numbers. A lot less people are diagnosed as having it in these other countries, and a lot less people are prescribed stimulant medications. Well, I think it's kind of normal to see how it relates to you. I mean, like it. In France, they use behavioral therapy. French people are smart too. I mean, they don't seem to be having a problem. I just these are just examples of places where people get around it, and they don't have they're not relying on a pill. So there obviously are other ways. French people got French people are creative people. Parental education plays a role. High reliance on national guidelines. Okay. People take it, so people do take stuff. Okay, okay, wait. Okay. Okay. France once again. In China, it is very, very. There's a big stigma if you're not a kid to take stimulant medications. Sweden's a little bit different. In the Netherlands, approximately 10%. A lot less. Australia, English speaking country. But what it looks like the other countries are doing is that if in an extreme case, they'll give people methylphenidate, but they primarily do behavioral therapy first. And if that doesn't work, we'll try something else, which should probably be, I think everyone would agree here. Um, you can watch Breaking Bad to find. Um, I think everyone could agree here that probably attempting to do some sort of CBT or behavioral therapy first and then giving medication is a better strategy and a healthier one long term than just handing people Adderall straight up. And Sturmix at the very end, they probably said that you had ADHD or ADD. I kind of wonder if like, well, yeah, they are, but it in other countries it seems like the first line is behavioral therapy and then stimulant medications. Unlike in the United States where it's just like stimulant medications. Yeah, Mr. MX, you were not alone. Have you ever tried any sort of behavioral therapy instead of taking medication? I would argue against the steroid argument. I mean, they could help heal an injury, and they don't like give people like test. Well, okay, they do give people testosterone, but by taking the medication, you're rewiring how your brain works. What I'm going to do here is I am going to end PT. We're going to put this in the docs. Yeah. Although it seems like if you're taking the meds at first, it could get a little dicey. If you're not like, if you're not, if you're in the presence of people who are trying to get you off of the medication, um, via other means of therapy, then yes, that's good. But if you're just like handing it out to everyone, that's not good. Yeah, sleepyhead. I would agree with you. Like cold showers. I think because taking a pill and having that flash of just like oh, I can focus. I mean, there's tons of side effects. Um, Prevents people from attempting to try other means of a solution. I think that is the best thing that I could say. What's your sleep like, MS Warrior? Um, because I was diagnosed as having narcolepsy as well. I mean, I don't have multiple sclerosis, but I guess it isn't that good. I was prescribed Xyrem. Um, However, what helped me the most was going on a carnivore diet. Then again, I do not have multiple sclerosis, so I cannot say. But for severe fatigue, it did help a lot. Also, if you remember Jordan Peterson's daughter, she had kind of like similar issues, and then she went off a lot of the processed foods. Okay, bye, MS Warrior. Culture of my final. That's my final sentence. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Um, I'm getting. Honestly, I am getting a little bit tired about talking about Adderall. I kind of want to like. I've learned a lot. I think I might have one or two more of these things. I want to get into messages that aliens left us, because that's a lot more cool. not not just Adderall. Um, so we do have a Discord server. If I can get it. As I try to pull that up. Discord. The link. What the fuck is this? Anyways, thanks for staying with me, guys. We're gonna have to spice up the topic soon. I will see you guys later.